What if the key to transforming your relationships is to embrace uncertainty? Today, I have a very special guest to help me delve into this very so important topic that will help you connect deeper with source and transform your relationships. So don't go anywhere. Welcome to Living Intentionally, the podcast that empowers driven women to get unstuck and to take their personal and professional lives to the next level. I'm your host, Carmen Benton. I am here to help you create the life you truly desire without burning out. And as a leading expert in living with amplified alignment between your mind, your energy, and your soul purpose, I'll be sharing valuable insights on mindset, energy, self-care, business, and much more. Plus, you get to hear from inspired women who have successfully built businesses and lives that are both meaningful and fulfilling. Join us as we dive into the topic that matter most and uncover the secrets to living intentional. Welcome back. Welcome back. Today I'm so excited to be here with Dragonfly De La Luz. She is a relationship alchemist and spiritual dating coach who has spent over a decade empowering women and a few extraordinary men, sounds like me, to use dating and relationships as the launch pad for spiritual growth and soul evolution. She counsels women to embrace uncertainty as a spiritual practice, find safety, security, and happiness within, and fortify their lives with trust in the divine through deepening their connections with Source. Her most rewarding work involves guiding women to transform their romantic relationships by making subtle adjustments to the one thing they can control themselves, thereby creating powerful, genuine, and lasting relationships, even if their partner isn't open to counseling. So welcome, Dragonfly, today to the show.
Thank you so much, Carmen. It's such a pleasure to be here. I'm so happy to see you.
Oh, I'm so happy that we're doing this. And for everybody, we are having a series of very amazing, empowering women in the podcast in preparation for the book launch of Beyond Certainty. And Dragonfly is a co-author of the book. She's also the editor. And I am so excited because I got to meet this amazing, there's a guy too, but mostly this amazing woman who have such amazing transformative stories. And I feel like it's my duty to share them with the world. So today we're going to talk about embracing uncertainty to transform relationships through deepening your connection to source. So I know you have an amazing story and it's like mind blowing. So why don't we start with that? Like, can you share with the audience like all about your travels and where you landed and all that? Because it's so mind blowing.
Sure. Yeah. A few years ago, I embarked on an ambitious solo mission to manifest my way around the world. And I did it on a budget that was meant to last about 3 months. And I got so good at manifesting that trip ended up lasting 3 years.
Wow.
Without stopping. So I ended up on every continent except Africa and Antarctica, following my bliss, having absolutely magical experiences, and being an emissary of the universe, which is ultimately what guided my travels. So yeah, yeah, it truly was incredible, especially like traveling solo and, sometimes going to places where I didn't speak the language and just letting myself be guided by the universe. People are like, well, so how do you decide where to go next? I'm like, well, I literally just follow my heart, but with one caveat. It's as if I sort of set my heart to be like the GPS of the divine. So I felt like I was very much guided into situations, and not just guided to like all the fun stuff that I wanted to do, although there was a ton of that. I checked so many things off my bucket list on this trip. But more specifically, I would wake up every morning and I would say, universe, how may I be of service today?
Oh, I love that.
And that seems to have set my GPS. And so I would literally be guided unfailingly into
Mm.
situations where the things that I naturally offer just by being myself were exactly what these seemingly random people that I was fated to meet had been seeking. So our interactions would begin and sometimes end with them saying something like, wow, you're exactly what I asked the universe for, or I've been praying to hear the words you just told me.
Mhm,
I didn't
mhm.
realize it quite in the beginning, but eventually I realized, wow, by saying those words, that morning mantra, I was setting myself up with a gig for the most powerful firm in existence. And
Wow.
and so
I'm gonna have to steal that. I mean, I love everything about how it sounds. I mean, I do something similar, but I love the how can I be of service today? And it reminds me of one story not too long ago. It was April. I was in Hawaii by myself doing an event that I ran for my subscribers. And there was one day I just went down to the local Starbucks because I need coffee in the morning. And it was Hawaii, so it was like, it's 2 hours behind Pacific,
Mhm.
and most of my clients are in Central Eastern. So I needed to get up super early to take care of one of my clients. And so I'm in this coffee shop, and there's this lady, and she looked very sad.
Mhm.
And I can feel it with my energy that she was very, very sad. And I just look at her, and I quickly scan her to see what heartfelt compliment I could give
Mm.
her, right? I just didn't want to say something random. Like I wanted to be able
Yeah.
to feel it because your heart is your GPS. It's also your connection with, the quantum field and everything that's around you. So I look and I'm like, she actually had the most fabulous pants that matched my brand. So I'm like, I need those pants. So, I got the energy was playful and I just went and gave her a compliment. And it was heartfelt. And I wasn't expecting anything in return, right? Her face just lit up and I could feel her, feel expanding. And, she was so grateful and she left. Well, I ran into this woman 3 times that day
Oh.
in Waikiki. I mean, that's like unheard of, like at different parts of the island. And it was just like, yeah, this was like meant to, and every time we ran into each other, she would get this green in her face.
Aw,
And it's like my job today was to make her happy, right? Like, and so it's the same
exactly.
thing. I love how you articulated it and put it all together. So
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, and I think everybody does it to a certain degree, right? And then I think that like consciously doing it, like what happens when you actually set out to do that, And
Mhm.
but of course, you don't want to be you don't want it to be contrived, right? It only works when it's organic.
Right, right.
But yeah, it seems like magic happens when we do that.
Mhm.
Um, in my case with my travels, I would notice, yeah, it's almost like being an answer to someone's prayers, right? It's like someone sends up, a prayer, or which we can just simply define as a thought,
Mhm.
like I'm really down today. I could really use some encouragement. And then you just happen to show up because of who you are. The universe is like, oh, Carmen's good at that. Carmen's got it. Carmen will go and compliment this woman all day long, and it will come from her heart. And this woman's going to feel amazing because of it. And I really do feel like the universe is like a cosmic matchmaker
Mhm.
that that connects people who have a need for a certain thing with people who are in a position to effortlessly, organically give it. So it
Mhm.
ends up being like no effort on the part of the of anyone. It's just completely natural, and it's actually, I think, doing the universe's most sacred and fundamental work.
Yeah. Oh my God. And there's so much synchronicity because I was listening to a podcast this morning, and I'm so attracted to this particular coach because she's a brand alchemist. So it's a marketing person, but it's all about energy. And she's talking about how when you are wishy-washy and full of yourself in your head, contracting your energy field, you can't reach the people that you have to reach because you are manipulating what you are supposed to be doing here. But when you allow yourself to be bold, whatever it is that you are here to be, right? Like some people are meant to be grounded, Like I am not a
Mhm.
grounded person. I don't like here, right? But like I remember one time I was at this event and one of the coaches, she's so like I just wanted to go hug her all the time. And I didn't make the connection quite right there until like I'm like, oh, because she grounds me, right? And so yeah, you just gotta be yourself. Now we diverge from your story. So you were traveling over the wall and then you landed in San Francisco, and what happened?
Oh, oh yes. By the time I had gotten to San Francisco, I knew I was running low on money. That was, that was planned. But my intention was to come to San Francisco, get a new job, start a new life, and see what happens. And I got really down to the wire. I was down to like my last $100
Mhm.
in San Francisco, which is a very expensive city. At the time, it was the most expensive city in America. But even so, I had a job lined up. So I was like, this is perfect. Thanks, universe. It might come down to the wire, but the universe has my back always. And I knew that and I believed that. And that's what gave me the sense of security that allowed me to travel like this. But I was riding with with the person who would be my boss up to the location, and he got a call as we were riding up, and it was from his lawyer. He takes this call, and he's like, yeah, yeah, okay, and then he puts his phone down, and he looks down, and then he looks up at me and says, "I'm sorry, I have to go turn myself in now."
Oops.
Okay. So he dropped me off in the middle of Haight Ashbury, a super fun part of San Francisco, like the hippie enclave, the peace and love heyday. But there I was with like everything I owned on my back in my backpack, and down to my $100, which is not enough to book a room in San Francisco.
Right.
Uh,
Yes.
and I did not know what was going to happen, but I knew one thing for sure, and that was the universe absolutely would protect me and would absolutely make sure that I have everything I need, even though I had zero idea how that was going to happen. Zero idea. And there I am just like walking around Haight Ashbury, just thinking like, okay, so what do I do? Who can I call? Where do I go? Um, and after a few hours of this, someone called my name. And it's like, who's this? Because I didn't know that many people in San Francisco at the time. I didn't live here at the time. And it was someone that I had met at a festival the weekend before, a really cool chick. And she was like, "Oh my God, Dragonfly, what are you doing here?" And I told her what I was doing there. And she was like, "That's crazy because I'm on my way up to a similar job tomorrow and they need more people. So do you want to come with me? Oh, and by the way, my hotel is right across the street and you can come stay in my room and we'll drive up tomorrow." And we did that. And I made a ton of money in a matter of days, like was able to replenish my cash to get ready for like the next leg of whatever was going to happen next, which I also didn't know because, who knows where the universe will send me next.
Right.
And it was amazing. The timing was just incredible. And it was a much better work situation than the one that I had been planning to go to. The one I'd been planning to go to is really rustic. It had like literally an outhouse with a composting toilet, rustic. Where I ended up with this girl, it was like a $2.8 million home. We all had our own bedrooms with our own bathrooms that all had saunas in them.
Wow.
There was a heated pool. There were, I think, 3 jacuzzis on the property. A live-in chef who was also a massage therapist.
Wow.
Golden,
Wow.
golden. And the thing that's really, oh, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
No, I was gonna say like this is a pattern, right? Like people
Mhm.
always resist so much when things don't go exactly like you envision them.
Mm-hmm.
And I have learned in my life to know because the universe always has my back, right? Like I have my kids' back. Like if
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling my daughter or my son, don't do this because I can see that there is something better or that's not a good idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you actually live from that frequency, you know, okay, that didn't work out because it wasn't meant to be or because something better is coming. But you need
Oh,
to allow it for it to come to you because if you keep resisting it, right,
yes.
it can't make it. right?
Right.
So,
And that is exactly what deepening your connection to source provides for you. That
mhm.
sense of security, that sense of knowing, just like your children know that you have their best interest at heart. They know that if you're telling them something,
Not always, but I still do.
right? They must be teenagers.
Yes.
But when you trust that the universe has you, then the universe's plans always work out better than your own. And I remember saying that out loud at the time in Haight Ashbury on the street. I was like, "Wow, thank you, universe. You always take my best laid plans and replace them with something I didn't even know that I wanted."
Hmm.
It's like, yeah, we show up with our plans, but divine plan is always better. Is always better.
It has
And
to be, right? You have 3D lenses on. There's so much you can see. You only can imagine things based on your past experiences, but there's so much to see and to experience. And yeah, source. Who better than source to guide you through that? So I absolutely
exactly.
love that. Yes. So you got this amazing job. And how do we take all this experience and knowledge into manifesting, a fairy tale relationship?
Well, gosh, what I think happens is that, as I said before, the universe is like the ultimate cosmic matchmaker.
Mhm.
And if you allow yourself to be guided, if you allow the universe basically to utilize um, your passion and your purpose for as a force for good, then the universe can move you around like a pawn, like a piece in a chess game,
Mhm.
to whatever situation you are really naturally suited for, in terms of helping other people. And to me, in my experience, and yeah, in my experience and with the people that I coach, it's always around other people. It's not super situational. It's about actual helping individuals. And so when the universe, basically, when you allow yourself to be guided in that way, and the universe is like, oh, okay, so you have naturally really great boundaries. That's the case with me. I was raised with really healthy boundaries. That is so second nature to me. And when other people around me, they say they see it, they sometimes comment on it because it's so clear. In my case, I was guided by synchronicity directly into the arms of my soulmate. At the time, I didn't even want a soulmate. I was, traveling the world on my own, having an absolute blast, having boyfriends in every country that I loved. And if I go to Paris, there's a beautiful boy there that will take off work and basically go on vacation with me when I'm there. It was epic, and I wasn't trying to change that.
Right, right.
But the universe guided me to this situation where, and it literally guided, like took me to a location, and then at the same time, had my soon to be boyfriend guided by someone else to that spot specifically to introduce us. Um,
Oh,
he
wow.
had come across me in a magazine. I was writing for, I've always been writing for magazines for like most of my life. And so yeah, I was in a cannabis magazine. I had some articles in a cannabis magazine that had some photos, and he had seen that magazine like 2 or 3 weeks before and was like, "That girl, I would love to go out with that girl." But he didn't, he wasn't really serious about it. He's like, "This girl could be anywhere in the world right now." And I was in Argentina following Radiohead on tour at the time. But 3 weeks later, I was in his arms because the universe guided us together for multiple reasons, but one of them being that he'd never learned how to do boundaries. He was
Mhm.
completely boundaryless, and it was creating problems for him, and he didn't know what to do, like how to deal with it. I didn't know that was his issue. I just showed up, and we hit it off immediately. It was love at first sight. He told me he loved me within 10 minutes of being introduced. He took me home from that festival that we met at, and I've been here ever since.
I
We just
love it.
celebrated 14 years together. Yeah, it's
Oh,
amazing. But one of the things was like, boundaries. Like he saw how I handle boundaries and was like, I need to learn this from you, sensei. Teach me, how do I do this? And ever since he has, shifted that in his life, things have improved drastically. All of his relationships have improved. And there are a number of, countless other things, that it seems like the universe was like, oh, he needs this. You've got this. So let's put you guys together. And same with me. Things that I didn't even know that I needed or wanted, things that I realize now have been essential for my evolution as a soul, right? Have come to me through this relationship. And it's like we are both growing and evolving together because the universe saw, oh, these guys, she needs this. He can totally help teach her this. And he needs this. She's got that. Boom.
Also
And
make it, yes.
exactly. And it's like, if you allow the universe to guide you, that could happen. That is how I got there.
And I don't know if you believe in soul contracts and whatnot, but
Yes.
this is the way I envision it. Here we are, ready to come down to earth, and it's like, what are your skills? Oh, these. Oh, okay. Well, let's meet down there. Okay, we're gonna be here at this time, this day. Don't forget. I have like this, I'm very visual, and there's like I have this vivid picture of that happening. It's like, well,
Yes.
or like last live, I struggle with this thing. Can you teach me? Oh, yeah. Well,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
sign the contract, and it's like, okay, well,
Exactly.
see you down there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my God. So I want to explore how this uncertainty can help you with relationships. But let's go to a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back really soon. And if you can share with our listeners, like, how do you use this surrendering with the
Mm.
universe, with your clients, and how it's helped you with your relationships, so they can get some practical tips. And, we'll talk about all this stuff. Okay.
Wonderful.
We'll be back in a second. Hey there! Looking for a breakthrough in your life journey? Well, I got great news for you. As a certified master intuitive coach and master energy healer, I can guide you and support you in unleashing your full potential. Let's work together to identify those subconscious blocks that are keeping you stuck, remove any emotional barrier, and reprogram the limiting beliefs that are keeping you stuck into empowering ones. With my help, let's reframe your story for success and replenish yourself with light and love. You don't have to go through this alone anymore. Let's discover what's holding you back and make lasting changes in your life today. Go to the link below at carmenbenton.com to learn more about my coaching services and to schedule a complimentary consult with me today. Remember, it is time for transformation, and I'm so happy to be here to help you make it happen. Welcome back. Welcome back. I love how you were dancing to the music. Like sometimes I actually not paying attention, and I'm like, it's good.
Gotta
So
feel.
yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying, gotta feel the music.
I know music is everything. It just transmutes your energy in so many ways, good and bad, right?
Yeah.
Um, and and I want to, you can even tie that to uncertainty, right? Because sometimes I just ask to the divine, like, okay, if I'm in a mood that I don't want to keep embracing, it's like, help me shift it, right? And
Mhm.
I'll just turn the radio and like randomly pick something, or randomly pick a YouTube video that I need to hear to get me out. So uncertainty could be a superpower. Embracing uncertainty can be a superpower. And
Mhm.
I feel like those of us that are in the book coming up, don't forget August 24th, um, are have done our part, our job to learn to live that motto of embracing uncertainty in so many different ways. You guys are gonna love the stories. There are relationships, career, trauma, all kind of stories. So um for relationships, tell us how do you do this?
Mm. I think that having a relationship with Source is the difference between having an ordinary relationship that you settle for, and the extraordinary fantasy that you spent your whole life daydreaming about. because to be deeply connected with source is to be resourced. And when we are resourced from within, we show up overflowing, not, with an empty cup that we're waiting for someone else to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a foundation that allows you to enjoy your relationship as opposed to continually look for lack. Oh, well, he's not making me feel this, and I don't feel this, and I don't feel that. Well, what do you need to feel really from a relationship? In my opinion, it's fun. It's safe to be yourself, you know um being being you at your essence,
Mm-hmm.
one of the things my boyfriend always says is that I draw out his innocence. He feels like he can be his most innocent version of himself around me, and he never has been able to before. He says he feels like some of the ways that he's felt only when he was a child, and he gets to be super playful and super like and because I'm not looking for anything from this person. I didn't show up needing anything from this person,
Mm-hmm.
and not because I'm like the creme de la creme and I'm the bomb. Although I do have a
You're the
healthy
bomb.
but because I was resourced.
Mm-hmm.
In my particular case, I was brought up in a situation that's like that, right? I was brought up being resourced from within. I don't think most people, though, are fortunate enough to have been brought up in a family that instills that, right, and models that for you. So you kind of have to just learn it, as you go along, as you grow along. But when you show up with safety and security and happiness within, and you're not looking to someone else to make you happy, then you all of a sudden have this expanded opportunity to just enjoy the person you're with and
Yeah.
explore the person you're with. Who's, I think of people as like, I imagine being on another planet and coming upon, a being that I didn't know existed, and being like, what are you? And and just being able to explore that, and that's where you get, that's where people feel comfortable just being themselves, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to, and especially for men, it's this way. I feel like women show up in these relationships, or show up, on a date, first date and stuff. And they are automatically like, okay, do you check this off? How much money do you make? Okay. So do you hang out with your guy friends at the bar after work, or what do you do? It's like, evaluating them. Are you good enough for me? Are you good enough for me?
Right.
Constantly. When you show up with that, I mean, the guy, it's not like the guy doesn't know that that's what you're doing,
Right.
and so a guy has to constantly perform, and and you'd be like, and just put himself out there in a way that's like a job interview, and you're going to get a completely different person at a job interview than when you're just hanging out at the park having a great time with someone that isn't expecting anything from you. You know what I mean?
Right. No, and there's a couple of things here that just ring a bell. At first, it's like I want to say that if you did not grow up in a house, because you were so lucky, Dragonfly, to have
Mhm.
that, right? This is something you can learn. This is something you can get to. I didn't grow up with that. And I settled so many times in my life when it came to relationships. And I wasn't open. Because vulnerability was like the scariest thing for me.
Mm, mm,
And one day, eventually something clicked and I was like, okay, you got to heal yourself. And my healing journey has been long, always progressing, right? But it's not like it started
mm,
last year. I mean, it's been going little by little. Whatever I was ready to heal came for me to be
mm,
healed. At some point, I remember it was Will Smith, and he had this quote about happiness in a relationship.
mm.
You have to be happy. So two happy people come together to be happy with each other, not looking for the other person to make them happy. And that was such a revelation to me. I was like, oh, yeah. I need to make myself happy, and you need to make yourself happy. And
Exactly.
you cannot control the other person. But the only way to make a relationship work is when both people are full with love from within, right?
Exactly.
Self love is so important, compassion, and all that. And I totally agree, is that connection with source that gives you permission to explore what that is, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So I just wanted to make sure our listeners are like, well, I didn't grow up with that, so I'm screwed. No, no, you're not. There's hope that you can heal that, and you can get there. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. That's exactly correct. That's exactly correct. And I also think that that is our that's part of our mission on earth,
Mhm.
is to learn that. You
Mhm.
know, it's like we must learn that.
Yeah,
You have to learn that to evolve. That's why we came here, is to learn that. And
yeah.
some of us were given an easier job of it than others, and some of us, I think, were given. I think some of us had an easier time of it than others, so that we can guide others to where they are.
Well, I think the people who has it easy is because they are probably in the last rope and they have a lot of lessons in their back, right? But also, it's like, the grass always looks greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And it's never that, because
Hmm.
you're given the load that you can transmute
Hmm.
with the skills, the personality, the values, the virtues that you have today. I mean, I believe that, right? And it's something that might seem it's naturally something that you do. A
Hmm.
lot of people have hard time with boundaries, and it seems
Hmm.
that it is the foundational piece of the happiness puzzle, right?
Hmm.
And it's something that I find, like, when you have not had a lot of boundaries growing up, it's kind of hard to, like, get into it. But again, everything you can always do. But I, like, you were talking about how your boyfriend can be himself, his authentic self with yourself. I remember being in a relationship where I felt I had to perform all day at work, and then I had to perform at home.
Mm.
And it was so draining.
Yes, it is.
It was so draining.
Hmm.
Um, but funny enough, it wasn't a matter of boundaries, it was a matter of me seeking um, connection and being liked, right? So different story. But yes, it's so important to be who you are in a relationship, to be able to have that, you know happily ever after. um and I'm not going to say Andy, journey.
Yes, yes, yes. That's so true. Yes, it is. It is. And I think that having a deeper connection with source guides you to that too. I feel like you fall in love with yourself more
Mhm.
because you're not judging yourself. You have this acceptance through source, like you feel accepted. So you're like, oh, okay, I'm good enough. Like the universe has my back. Cool. Okay. I'm good enough. I've got that, and you end up, capable of being your own best friend, capable of carrying that energy that protects that little girl inside, that protects your own innocence. And I also feel like, when you have a deeper connection with source, you can fall in love with everything, and you
Mhm.
can be in love with everything on a daily basis, whether or not you have a human being to share that with,
Mhm.
which is an amazing place to be when you embark on a relationship. If you're already in love without the person, you're golden. You're golden, because then all you need to do is have fun with whomever you're with.
That's manifestation 101 right there, right? Like, if
Yeah.
you are exuding the vibration of love for
Hmm.
yourself, the
Hmm.
universe has no other choice but to bring you more reasons to feel that vibration with another
Exactly.
human being, but also with the creation. There's so many
Hmm.
amazing things. And even the people who are, mean or hurt, wounded, just reacting from their traumas and just being triggered all the time, when you develop this connection, you can see the goodness in them, right? Because
Hmm.
compassion is such a powerful emotion too, that it's like,
Mhm.
well, that has nothing to do with me. They're not telling that to me. They are just simply reacting to this, they're going back to that trauma or whatever happened to them,
Right.
that makes
Mhm.
them feel activated into the fight or flight response to be protected. So yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Oh my God, this is such a juicy conversation. And in case you're wondering, we haven't spoiled the chapter, so you still need to get the book so you can read Dragonfly chapter. And so I know you. So you obviously a coach for relationship alchemist. I love actually when you say relationships because there has to be this, this shift that needs to happen to me to be able to make it. So that you should trademark that. By the way, I'm telling you.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it already is. I did not make up that term. I've seen it in so many contexts.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Well, you just said you never know. Maybe there's somewhere. um, but is there any tips that you want to leave the listeners with? And where can they find you?
Thank you. Well, gosh, hmm. I want people to know that, like you said, it can all be learned. It can all be learned, and it should be, in fact, a daily spiritual practice of embracing uncertainty. And there are so many ways to do that. You don't have to like get all woo woo and go traveling, manifesting your way around the world to do it. You can do it at home, you know. Um, just by allowing yourself to be guided. There are always, hopefully there will always be some times where you don't have anything planned, where you can say, I don't really know what I'm doing today. It's Saturday, it's from 1 to 3, I don't have any plans. Well, ask the universe to guide you. See where you end up. See what happens.
Yeah.
See who calls you in those 2 hours, and see how you feel at the end of that call, and how they feel at the end of that call. Whether you just provided the thing that they desperately needed. And I also want to put out there this idea of toying with the idea of dating the universe.
I love that. I mean, I date my money. And I have a money lover, and he's hot and sexy. But you know what? I have never thought about the universe. I'm gonna do that too. I can picture him already.
Yeah, that's funny. And yeah, what I mean by that is allowing yourself to interpret any love and kindness that you experience as coming to you directly from the universe. This is just one of the many ways that you can cultivate a deeper relationship with the universe. So, like, even, a few weeks ago, I was outside under a cherry blossom tree writing, and the breeze came, and these pink cherry blossom petals just fell all around me, and I was like, oh my God, it's like pink snow, pink little flowers falling around me. And I interpreted them as like little gentle kisses from the universe.
Beautiful.
And it's a way to sort of like solidify that connection, because the whole point is to constantly be cultivating that connection, not just say, well, okay, I like the universe, that's cool. No, to be constantly engaging with the universe. You go outside and you feel the sun on your skin, and you thank the universe for keeping you warm. Things like that, to just constantly encourage yourself to be deeply connected in that way.
Because so
Because
many signs everywhere, right? Numbers. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times whenever like I get like a little frazzle, like I don't know how something's gonna happen, and I look at the clock and it's 111 or 1111, and it's like, thank you, got it.
Yes, exactly. That kind of thing deepens our connection for sure. And I also want people just to know that it is possible to feel rooted and secure even when the rug is being pulled from under your feet. It is possible to have unshakable trust in the universe even when you don't know what's going to happen next. It is possible to cultivate security in not knowing, peace in uncertainty. It's possible to carry unconditional love for someone, even when you don't know what the outcome of that relationship is going to be. And it's also necessary, I think, for our evolution as souls. That's why we're here, is to learn how to do these things despite the obstacles, despite the fear, despite the doubt, and to find that strength within to continue to carry those things, to continue to be in peace, to be in love, to feel safety and security and happiness within. And it's And it is my absolute joy and privilege to be able to guide women to that, to help them find that, to help them, realize that no matter what the circumstances, no matter, what's going on, whether someone is leaving you, whether your job is leaving you, there is a certainty and security that resides within you, that no one can ever take away. And my goal is to help every woman achieve that sense of connection, right? And there are just so many benefits of that, right? Like when you're connected, you can be connected without being attached, right? And so like attached, I think of attached as being like sort of like latching on, grasping onto something that you feel like you're going to drown if you don't hold on to
You
it.
force it, right? Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
you're paddling against the flow. You're
exactly.
upstream, right? Like you might be moving, but it feels like you probably should be going the other direction.
Right, right. And if you're connected instead, I mean, your connection is a part of you. So you're not grasping for something outside yourself. You're
Mhm.
connected to, you know that you're not going to drown because it's a part of you. So,
Mhm.
to be connected to everything, that helps, that comes from this connection with source too. So I love to help women fall in love with the universe, fall in love with themselves first before they embark on a relationship. And people that are in relationships, I love showing them how to transform their relationships through some of these connection practices. And so they can step into their true juicy essence, right? Where they're overflowing, with overflowing with love, and not just showing up, looking for someone to fill their cup. And by overflowing with this, like you really are embodying this essence that attracts, not just swoon worthy romantic relationships, but anything that brings you joy, right? So maybe a new position that draws on all your strengths and pays you what you're worth.
Mhm.
Satisfying friendships, supportive communities, divine guidance when we need it. All of that is possible. All of that is attainable. It's just a matter of finding the ways and finding the practices that will bring that out in you, but it's all
Oh,
possible. Yeah.
so beautiful. And I have to say, you do embody and exude the frequency of love, and it's just like joyful, right? Your smile. I remember the first time I ever saw you on the book Zoom meetings that we had. I was like, oh, I love her energy.
Oh.
So it's playful, yes. So that's beautiful. And I know a lot of people need that in the world today, and I'm so privileged to have you here in the show. And I know that I needed to listen and hear a lot of the things you have to say, so I'm sure our listeners um are going to have so much out of this episode. But I want to make sure they know where to find you. So
Oh, thank
where
you.
will be the best place to find you, in Instagram or Facebook or whatever you hang out the most?
Yeah, on Facebook, they can just type in my name, Dragonfly De La Luz. And on Instagram, it's dragonfly_manifests. And if you just DM me source or relationship or anything you want, let's be
Yeah.
real. We can connect that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm gonna put her link tree in the description of the episode, so you have that too. But thank you so much, girl. This has been a pleasure. I'm so happy, so blessed that we are in this project together.
Me
And
too.
I can't wait for the day to come. So everybody, listen very carefully. August 24. We need you to purchase this book between 2 and 5 p.m. Eastern Time, so we can achieve the best selling rank,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And different authors of the books might have different offerings. You know that for me, if you purchase it, leave a review and send it to me. And you can be smart and do this with all the authors too, if you want. I am offering a group healing. It's valued at $297. All you have to do is purchase the book, put a review, send me the picture, you're in. So it's a Kindle version, so it's like under $2. I don't know that
Yeah.
we settled on the price, but it's like under $2. No brainer. And I'm going to tell you, the stories are there to help you transform. They're all transformational stories, no fluff. And it's just going to be an amazing book. And I'm so happy to be part of it. So
Yes.
beautiful. And thank you so much for being here. And I'll see you next week with another episode. I'm going to have another co author of the book. So it's going to be another treat for you. So I'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Thank you, Carmen.
Hey there. Thank you for tuning into today's episode of Living Intentionally, the podcast where we explore ways to live with purpose and fulfillment. If you're new here, make sure to hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at the Carmen Benton. I'm your host, Carmen Benton. I'll be back next week with more insights and inspiration.